afternoon, good afternoon. Yes, it is Tuesday, and I am here on a Tuesday, but it's such a special day because I have two special people I want to introduce. Well, one reintroduce to you, and another introduce to you. On my second segment, oh man, I have Tony Newton. Wait till you hear about him. Wait till you get a load of him. And first and foremost, I have a friend of the show, Mr. Phil Dick from across the pond from England. Good morning. Good afternoon. I'm used to good morning.
Yeah, good afternoon, Brenda. Thanks for having me again.
Oh, of course, because you help our economy. Every October, you help the economy of the city of Detroit. And you bring Motown, well, not Motown. Is it Motown a go-go or Detroit a go-go?
So it's normally Detroit a go-go, but this year it's Motown's 60th anniversary. So we renamed the whole show Motown a go-go.
Okay, why don't you tell everybody first and foremost exactly where you're from?
Right, I'm from the north of England. The biggest city near to where I am is called Leeds. A lot of you may not be familiar with that, but you'll be familiar with Manchester. I'm about 50 miles from Manchester.
And Manchester is how far from London?
About 200 and some miles.
Oh, okay. Now there, because
that's not a lot over here to you guys. 200 miles is down the road, but to us in England, it's you go through probably 4 or 5 different accents before you get to London from where I live.
Accents?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we have about 40 different accents in England.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I do know that for sure. Idris Elba, the great Idris Elba, an actor, even though I think he's of African descent, but he was raised over in England.
Yeah. And
he can speak many languages, many different accents, including, of course, the American Northwestern accent, but he doesn't, I don't know what his real accent is.
It sounds kind of London to me.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to understand and speak different accents in England, otherwise you wouldn't be able to communicate with somebody who lived 100 miles away.
Okay, what about Cockney?
Yeah, cool, blimey, Gavner.
Yes. That's a fun accent to me. And so you play music over there, don't you?
Yeah.
Because I watch you on Facebook.
Yeah, usually when I'm a little stuck for something to do, and if I've had a glass or two of wine, then I just go on Facebook Live and start playing those 45s.
Yeah, and then until
my wife tells me to stop.
I know, but you play some good music. And the thing I like about the music over there is that you play a lot of music that they no longer play here, or artists that they no longer play here.
Yeah, so we have a great passion over in England for the Motown and soul music of the 60s and 70s. So when the music changed and went more towards disco, we were just stuck in our ways, and we just kept on listening to the old 4/4 beat music, and that's what we love.
Well, tell me why they use so much vinyl over there, and we've gotten all into digital.
Well, some people have, but for us, we prefer the original 45s, the original release 45 wherever possible, so that we can, keep it real, keep it authentic, and that's stemmed from obviously listening to music of a kind of Motown sound. Then once you've exhausted all the popular stuff, then you've got to start digging deeper.
Yeah.
And that's why I and many other of my compatriots were visiting Detroit for decades, out there in the neighborhoods looking for these old 45s, trying to find a new record but the same sound.
Right. Well, I have some of those records. Every time you come, it makes me think about it. I have one-hit wonders and everything.
That's what we love. Yeah.
I do. I really do. And my mother's 45s. My mother's 99. She's still around too. Wow. But her 45s are nice. They don't have a scratch on them. They have nothing on them. Looking good, looking good. And then the albums are, well, do you all do albums too, or
Yeah,
just mainly
no,
singles?
I personally collect albums as well as singles, but obviously for DJing, it's difficult to do
Right,
with
right.
with an album because you've got to queue up the correct track. Usually, when you're DJing in a club, it's dark, so it's harder to DJ with albums. But some tracks are only available on albums, so yeah, DJ with those from time to
Oh,
time.
okay, okay, because you do. I mean, you're such a master at it. When he's on Facebook Live, everybody, he has this album, and he just holds it, and he says, "Guess what this is?" and he'll
Yeah.
put it on. So, Detroit a Go Go, Motown a Go Go. How did you come up with that idea? And I must say this: Phil actually got married at Motown.
Yep, yeah, we did. Me and my wife. Well, I proposed to her in the Motown studios. I was over here on a record buying trip, hunting those elusive old 45s, and my then fiance. Well, she wasn't even my fiance then, because I hadn't asked her. But she'd never been over, and she'd never been to the Motown Museum. I'd been a couple of times before, so I took her there, and she was absolutely mesmerised by the Motown Museum and all the stuff that were in it. It wasn't the slick professional production that you see today. Then back in the mid '90s,
Right,
it was a lot more make and do, but
right.
absolutely fascinating. And I got down on one knee in there and asked her to marry me, and she said yes. And when we got back home, we were thinking about where could we get married. We knew we wanted to get married probably in the USA, and so
Really?
I called up and spoke to Mrs. Edwards, Esther Gordy Edwards, and
Right.
I told her what I wanted to do, and she thought it was a crank call.
Uh,
She did. She's like, is this a crank call? I'm like, no, take my number. So she said, I'll call you back, because I don't think she really believed that I was for real. So a couple of days later, she called me back and agreed that we could get married there, but on a couple of provisos, and they were, we want to use your wedding to publicise the Motown Museum. I'm like, oh, okay. And she says, and we'll pay for everything. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Go right
right.
ahead. I'll do whatever you want me to do.
Right, right, right. So when did you get the bug to decide to bring these people over from England to Detroit to
Well,
listen to our music and meet our...
I and my wife have been coming here looking for records for 35 years. It's 35 years this time. I first came to Detroit in 1984, and I've always loved the city and the people. Detroit has always got a bad press, I think, and it's always had a bad reputation. And sure, Detroit can be a hard place, and you know, the slogan "Detroit hustles harder" is definitely true.
That
But that's
is,
because the people have had to hustle harder,
yeah.
because they've had a whole ton heap of the brown smelly stuff heaped upon them for a long time. And you know, it's made the people tough and it's made them resolute. But I think the people of Detroit are good people, and we love Detroit and we love the Detroit people. And we, myself and my wife, have always been warmly welcomed wherever we go in Detroit. You know, once people get over the initial first impression and then realise that we are genuine and we genuinely love the city and the music of the city and the people.
So what was your first trip like when you came with the go-go?
With the go-go, or when they first came?
No, when you, the first go-go.
Oh, the first to go-go, fantastic. I mean, I didn't know if it was going to succeed. We'd always had this vision right from way over 20 years that we wanted to share our love of Detroit and the music of Detroit with our friends. And a lot of our friends, they all know a lot of the records and the songs,
Right.
but they don't know the people and they don't know the
Yeah.
place. And I think without actually seeing the people and seeing the place, the music is great, but it lacks context.
Yeah.
And so we
Yeah.
put this together and just prayed that people would share our vision and buy some tickets and come along, because I'd committed to booking the entire Hotel St Regis.
Right,
And I'd
right,
committed to booking Bert's for 4 nights,
Right.
and a sound system and a band and all these artists, and it's like a little bit finger biting time. Are people going to share in it? But thankfully, it started slowly, and then we filled the hotel, and everybody came over, and we just had such a great time.
Yeah, you do 4 days, and we're going to go through those 4 days. You know, it's funny. I wrote something about Motown a couple of days ago. I was asked to write a sentence, but I had to do 3. This morning, I was being interviewed, and I talked about Motown because well, I grew up, of course, in the 60s, but when Motown, at the beginning of the 60s, I was in grade school. By the time it was over, I was in college. So
Yeah.
I went from a child to a woman. And the music of Motown really had me anticipating romance. Then they had me anticipating heartbreak and
Yeah.
all kind of things. And it was so much pride in Detroit. And it was so Detroit, wasn't it? Isn't
Yeah,
it?
absolutely. And that's what we love about Motown music and the wider soul music of Detroit, is we often call it the soundtrack to our life.
And that's why I say it's the music of my
Yeah,
life.
because there is a song for every single thing you can experience. You just look at that Motown
Tell
catalogue
me about that.
portfolio, there's a song for everything you will experience.
Absolutely. You know, every time I hear Fingertips, and Dennis Bowles is in the audience, and I mean, in here in the studio right now, but I think about Fingertips, and his father was all up in all of that, and all
Yeah.
of them were. And I think about Stevie Wonder at that young age, and how there was a record shop near me called the Music Box Record Shop, and they brought Stevie in and they sat him on a counter, and we
Wow.
all got to walk past him, and he shook our hand, we shook his little hand and everything, and he was just doing like this, and
Wow.
I bought Fingertips. That's
Yeah.
what, you know, everything comes to mind. Well, you have some great artists on the show
Yeah.
this year. Let's talk about the first night. Okay, once your people get here, what do they do first?
Right, so they check into the Hotel St Regis. I mean, we've got some people come a couple of nights early, and there's now, we have like 80, 90 of us on the Tuesday night before we start, go down to the Northern Lights and see Dennis Coffey performing with Lady Champagne.
Right.
And that's always good. But the first official night, the welcome party, is at the Hotel St Regis.
And that's Wednesday, October 23rd.
23rd, and we have Drew Schultz and his band.
Oh,
performing,
and the Broken Habits.
and the Broken Habits, and we have this year performing for our delight, QB Miss QB.
I don't know.
She does Motown in a interesting way, and we also have
Beth.
recent star of The Voice, Beth Griffith
Beth.
Manley.
She's a very good friend of mine. In fact,
Just like Dennis's son of a funk brother, she's
right,
the daughter of
a funk brother,
Yeah.
and she actually, I've directed her in a play.
Yeah.
We're very good friends. Beth will be there that Wednesday evening, and that's going to be at Bert's or
No,
at
that's
the
at the
hotel.
Hotel St Regis.
Okay,
yeah.
right on the boulevard in Woodward.
Yeah, and then we start what we call the event proper on the Thursday night down at Bert's, and we've got Willie Jones, Lorraine Chandler, the Dynamics, the Wiley Girls,
That's
which is
Popcorn Wiley's
Popcorn
daughter.
Wiley's daughters and granddaughter,
Wow.
Sophia, and Mr. Spider Turner.
We love Spider.
Yeah.
We love Spider Turner here.
Yeah,
we love him.
he's fantastic. So that's a Detroit go night, the Thursday.
Okay, now that's down at Bert's place.
Yes, it is.
What time does that begin?
8.
8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what about if people? Now you're going to have people here from England, but anybody is welcome to
Absolutely. The
Come.
more the merrier.
come. The more.
I
the
mean, we
merrier.
usually get anywhere on each night between 300 and 500 local Detroiters in.
Right.
And we have a real party together.
And I'm telling you, they party. I was able to come to one of the nights last year, and I thought I had been before. Maybe not. I don't know. But they just party. They can't get enough.
Absolutely. We just love to dance to the
Dance.
music. And that's one of the things that I dreamed of, but the reality of it is even better, is all us English folks who were predominantly white working class English folks,
Right.
with all the local Detroit people, and there's no problems, no hassle. We're all
None.
talking, dancing, drinking
Having a
together,
good
just having a
time.
good old time. Yeah.
And sometimes, well, one of the nights I was there, I was able to get pictures of various artists. They were signing autographs too.
Yeah, yeah. So we do that. We have the show, and then the artists mingle with the crowd.
And here's the other thing, and I want my viewers to know this. Every year, we're losing people.
We are.
We really are. This year, we lost Willie Ford from the
Yeah,
Dramatics.
we did.
Very good friend of the show. Another friend, Al McKenzie, who at one time was the Temptations music director, very good friend. He died about a month ago now. I mean, just people are passing away. You got to seize this moment.
Yeah, it's good to send flowers to a funeral, but it's better to give people them
They're
while
due
still,
while they're here.
Yeah, so Willie Ford and the Dramatics, they were on the first show in
Right,
2017.
right.
Signed up for the first show, but didn't make it. Was Dennis Edwards. These people,
Dennis Edwards.
they're
yes.
leaving us. They're leaving
Yes.
us. Nobody's getting any younger, and I would urge you to come along and see these people in their prime surrounding. I mean, some of these artists hadn't performed for decades.
Right, and
even
then,
their own family didn't know what they could do.
And then, too, you get a chance. See, when they were the most popular, top of the charts, you couldn't get near them.
No.
But now you could get right there, and you could talk to them, have great conversations.
Absolutely.
Okay, and we have on that Friday, the 25th.
Yeah, so that's the first official Motown A-Go-Go night, and we've got live on stage. We have the Posse. Some of you may be familiar with
Eddie
them.
Kendricks used
Eddie
to
Kendricks,
be the
he was
manager.
his band.
Yes.
Yeah. So they've got those guys on. We've got Kim Weston. We've got the Marvelettes. Chris Clark. So
Chris Clark's coming?
Yeah, some of you may remember her.
I do.
Yeah. Carolyn Crawford.
Yes.
G.C. Cameron.
Yes, he was with the Spinners, right?
With the Spinners.
I just saw him.
And he was a solo Motown artist.
Right.
After the rest of the Spinners left and went to Atlantic, he stayed behind.
And I know the story behind that, too, but I just saw him.
Brenda Holloway.
I love Brenda Holloway.
Yeah.
Love Brenda Holloway. I got a chance to meet her a couple of years ago, but G.C. Cameron, I just saw him. The Temptations were here with Otis Williams.
Yeah.
And G.C. Cameron, they had him come out on stage. He was there that night.
Yeah. So he's going to be here. So, and then so that's the first Motown A-Go-Go.
And that starts again at 8?
8 o'clock, and we usually finish around 2. But you don't have to stay till 2. You can stay till 1:30 if you like.
We party hardy.
But then what we do is we get the coaches back to the Hotel St. Regis, and we party through till 8 in the morning.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
And so what do you all do in the afternoon? That's Saturday.
That afternoon, we have a party at Berry Gordy's former house, Gordy Manor as he used to call it, but the Motown Mansion on Boston Boulevard.
From Boston, right.
And we've got a band there, we've got DJs, we've got various Motown artists.
And
with the crowd.
that night you have Junior Walker's All-Star Band.
Yeah, it's mostly groups. We have Junior Walker's All-Star Band, we've got the original Vandellas, the Velvelettes, the Elgins, the Contours, the Miracles, and a grand finale from Sherry Payne, Suze Green, Joyce Vincent, the Supremes.
Formerly of the Supremes.
Formerly of the Supremes.
Absolutely.
We have to be careful how we phrase it.
You have to.
Yeah.
Right, you have to. I mean, this is so wonderful in those groups, and we loved those groups back in the day.
Yeah.
And also we have, I want to mention, I think my neighbor, good friend of mine, Marty Montgomery.
Yeah, he's part of the band.
I know.
He is our sax player.
I know.
And he takes for Junior Walker's All-Star Band. Obviously, Junior's no longer with us. Marty stands in for Junior, and he blows
what
that
does
sax.
it take?
Yeah.
And then on Sunday, now that starts at 8 p.m. too, at Bert's.
Yeah.
At Bert's.
Every night, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 8 p.m. start.
Okay, let's talk about Sunday.
So Sunday, we're back into the Detroit A-Go-Go.
And Golden World
We're having
Records.
a look back at Golden World and Rick Tick Records.
Yes.
So we have Willie Kendrick Al Kent, J.J. Barnes, Pat Lewis, The Reflections, and Carl Carlton, although
If he's
I've got to put a caveat on Carl,
Yes,
because obviously,
he had a
as
stroke.
Lottie will may know, he had a stroke. He's recovering well, but we don't want to put any pressure on
Right,
Carl.
right,
So
right.
we
But
already have
if
another,
he's feeling well,
He'll be there.
he will do it. He's such a trooper.
and we have another guy who's who we just confirmed yesterday. Some of you may remember him, Ronnie Savoy.
Of
Ronnie Savoy was on Wingate Records.
Oh, Wingate.
Yeah,
well,
which was
that
the
was
sister label
yeah,
to Golden World
That
and Roots.
was
Named after Mr. Ed Wingate, of course.
Yes, Ed Wingate.
And Ronnie Savoy, he had a hit called Memories Linger.
Oh, okay.
But we prefer the other side in the UK, the up-tempo side, which is Loving You.
You all know that music. You
Yeah,
know that
absolutely.
music. I am so excited about Carolyn Crawford. She was just on my show recently, like last month.
Yeah.
She was just on here. Then I saw her yesterday. But she has quite a memory for things. And
She does.
And not only that, her energy and her
Unbounded energy.
unbounded energy in her voice, and she's so attuned to music. Sometimes you got to catch her because she'll be singing and she'll be trying to conduct the band too. I mean,
Yeah.
that's her. That's the
She
way
knows
she
her
is.
stuff. We had I brought her over to perform at an event I run in the UK this summer. Both her and Willie Jones and Carolyn, she just blew everybody's socks off.
I know.
Her voice now is better than it ever was.
Yeah.
And the power, I mean, she's such a small little lady.
I know.
But the power that comes out, that
I
voice,
know.
unbelievable.
As I told you, I saw her win her first talent
That's
show.
amazing.
We were teenagers,
Yeah.
and they were just so proud of her. And plus, I have her original records
Yeah.
at home, the 45s and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And it's still great songs.
Absolutely.
Still, what do you think the secret is to this music living as long as it does? Because it lives over here, because we have older stations and stuff like that.
Well, I think the reason that this music survives and isn't as transient as music from later decades is because they're proper songs. They're proper songs that have a start, a middle, an end. They tell a story,
Yeah.
a story that the listener can relate to, and they've got damn good music and a beat you can dance to.
Yeah, yeah. And we call it, with the slow dance, when I was growing up, we called it, we used the social.
Yeah.
And then boys get you real close, and everybody called it, we were cooting. It was just wonderful. And like a song like, Ooh, Baby, Baby,
Yeah.
by The Miracles.
Yeah.
It was such a short song. It was under 2 minutes.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we won't have Smokey, but we've got...
Mark Scott.
Yeah, we've got the Miracles, and they're going to be performing Ooh, Baby, Baby.
Well, it was so
I
short.
got outvoted. My choice was More Love, because I love that.
More love, more joy, ancient time. I was, the thing about More Love, I was talking to Paul Reiser, and that song came on, and I said, that was done here. He said, no, but the music sounds like California. I said, but I know that song was done here. We looked it up. The music was done in California, but the song was done here.
Yeah.
It was just everybody, both of us were right. And
Yeah, well, Paul's going to be coming along to the Hotel St. Regis. We're going to do some Q&A sessions with people like Paul Reiser, Clay McMurray,
yes,
Ivy Hunter.
Clay and Ivy, yes,
Yeah. Because that's a big thing for us, obviously, is hearing about all the stories behind
the scenes.
the music.
Behind the music.
Yeah.
Well, Phil, let's tell everybody once again, I'm going to go through some of these artists real quick. The Elgins, Kim Weston, Chris Clark, Carolyn Crawford, Brenda Holloway, G.C. Cameron, The Contours, Junior Walker All-Star Band, the original Vandellas, the Marvelettes, the Velvelettes, the Miracles, featuring Mark Scott, Willie Kendrick, the Ladies, the Ladies, and Posse, and then we have Sherry, Susie, and
Gene Vincent.
Gene Vincent, formerly of the Supremes, the Reflections, the Fantastic Four, J.J. Barnes, and Miss Pat Lewis, who we love, the Dynamics, Carl Carlton, Lorraine Chandler, Spider Turner, the Wiley Girls, Ronnie Nelson and TFO, and of course Drew Schultz and the Broken Habits. And you could get your tickets from only $25, available at Bert's Place, People's Records, and other selected outlets, and online at www.freshtix.com and www.motownagogo.com. Anywhere else? Anything else?
Melodies and Memories record shop as well. And
where's that?
East Point.
Oh, okay.
And also, from tomorrow, you should be able to get them from the front desk at the Hotel St. Regis as well.
Oh, so wonderful.
Bert's Marketplace, People's Records, Melodies and Memories, the Hotel St. Regis, and as you said, www.motownagogo.com. I hope you'll love the website because I did it myself.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah,
and,
FreshTix.com is the ticket.
We are actually, featuring the best in original vinyl spins from the top DJs from the UK, Europe, and the United States of America. And I'll tell you, we are actually celebrating Motown this year. It's the 60th year. I mean, golly, yeah. I've gone from a child to an old woman now on Motown music. But anyway, I love it. I'm going to be there, and so should you. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you, Brenda.
Always great.
Thank you very much.
Let me know when you're coming back.
I will.
We'll be back in just a minute with my very special guest from L.A., Tony Newton, bass player extraordinaire.
Watching Detroit's own WHPR TV. Detroit Live.
Hi, this is Brenda Perryman, and you can watch me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the WHPR TV Now app. Download our free app at WHPR TV Now.
Fridays at 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. Eastern. You can have your own party on TV. Party with R.J. Watkins and the TV33 family when you hold your own Facebook watch party. Connect all your friends with our friends, and we can have a watch party together. Watch your favorite TV shows when you want, how you want, with your favorite people. Here's how it works. Log on to Facebook from your computer or tablet and go to the R.J. Watkins fan page at facebook.com/TV33WHPR, the one with the blue WHPR logo on the left. Like us. Click the word videos with the red tag that says live next to it. Then click the share button at the bottom of the video player and select start a watch party. Invite whoever you want. Your party will be recorded and archived for playback anytime you want. 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. At the end of the month, the viewer that has the most people at their watch party will be invited on the TV show live. Come on, let's have a party. Watkins Broadcasting is going worldwide. Now you can watch Detroit's own WHPR on your TV from anywhere in the world. No matter where you are, you can stay in the know with WHPR TV and Roku. You can get your easy-to-install Roku box from wherever you shop for your entertainment gear. Once your Roku box is connected to your TV and internet, go to the channel store on the home menu of the Roku box. Enter WHPR TV in the search engine and add it to your channels. That's it. That's all you need to get the best in entertainment, news, and talk, no matter where you are. Roku brings all of your favorites to your TV. Netflix, Hulu Plus, Crackle, HBO Go, and now WHPR TV, Detroit Live.
Well, you're from LA. You're from LA. Good afternoon again. Yes, afternoon and not morning. It's Brenda, and I have with me a very special guest who's from here by way of LA.
Right.
Yes, I say it like that. Mr. Tony Newton. Good afternoon, Tony.
Good afternoon, Brenda.
Oh, so happy to have you here. And I have this poster because Tony is live in concert tomorrow night. Gwen Fox has her Foxy Gwen's Day Wednesday. And that's down at the Music Hall Jazz Cafe. And Aretha, oh, goodness, I'm sorry, the Aretha Franklin Jazz Cafe. Now, I forgot, we changed everything to Aretha. Everything.
Right.
Freeways,
Right.
Name it, it's Aretha, okay? Yes,
Right.
everything, what should be. So we make sure we're up here at the mic. And Tony, once you hear about the things he did, you say, oh, God, I know that, I know that, I know that. And I was real excited when I got a call the other day that he was in town. And why are you in town?
Well, there's two reasons. One reason is to give back to Detroit because I haven't been here in so long, right?
So long, how long is that?
30 years or more, right?
Oh,
Because
wow.
I left in 75. And so I thought
That's
it was
40.
Yeah, right.
44.
Exactly. And the other is to do the concert at Aretha's Jazz Cafe.
Wow, this is just so wonderful. Well, let's go back in time.
Okay.
Now, Tony, you were born here in Detroit.
Yes, yes.
You lived on the east side or west side?
Well, we moved around. I was raised on Putnam between I don't remember, McGraw and something, right? And I went to McMichael and Northern and all of that. Oh, McGraw School, right.
McMichael, there was Mar, McMichael,
Yeah.
and Northwestern,
Right,
the
right.
big N.O.
Right, exactly. And so then we moved to the North End, and I lived on Westminster, around the corner from Aretha, between John R. and Brush, right?
Wow.
And well, my career started at both places because I took music all throughout school, from elementary
So,
on.
was Mr. Ernie Rogers at Northwestern when you were there?
I don't remember. Harold Arnaldi is who.
Oh, yes.
Right.
I've heard of
Right,
him,
right,
yes.
right, exactly.
Oh, God, he is a legend.
Yeah, he is, because he did Cass Tech,
Cass Tech.
all city
That's
bands
what I
and
knew,
stuff, right?
yeah.
Yeah, and so he raised us all.
So was your instrument then a guitar or what? How
No.
many instruments did
I play about 12 instruments, so I play all the saxophones, all the clarinets, and all the flutes. And so at that time,
Brass.
my focus was
Brass.
on, it was on saxophone, right? And then when I heard the bass, I said, I've got to do this because it touched me so deeply. Because I was around when the upright, when electric bass was just coming on the scene on recording.
Okay,
right?
okay.
And so it touched me so deeply. I said, well, that's where all the power is. It's in the bass. So I focused on the bass. I started listening to great bass players like James Jamerson,
Oh,
Chuck
yes.
Rainey, and people like this, right? Because as I always say, behind every great person or artist is a greater teacher. Right? You have to study from somebody that's great in order to be great.
As a former teacher, I appreciate that so
Right,
much.
exactly.
I really, really do,
Yeah.
because especially when it comes to the arts, because as our culture is, sometimes there are parents who did not, say if you were interested in music or you were interested in theater or dance, they didn't look at that as a sustainable income
Right.
that you could make.
Right.
And I remember when I told my mother I was going to major in drama, she said, "Oh, you'll starve," So I said, "Well, I'll teach it." And then I knew
Right.
along the way I'd still be able to do it.
Right. Well, everyone, I believe everyone must follow their path.
Yes.
If they don't, they will be unhappy most of their life.
Absolutely.
They won't reach
Absolutely.
these other plateaus that you can get to when you're expressing your true unique gifts.
Absolutely. So after high school, and you had been but before you got out, what bands did you play with?
Okay, so we had a high school band from Northern with McKinley Jackson,
Right.
and that was called the Mount Royal Cliffs.
Yes.
And we did lots of parties and things, and we
According
opened the
to
show.
McKinley, he only went to bands.
Right. So we opened the show for Nina Simone. That was our first big
Oh,
concert,
wow,
right? And it
wow.
was fantastic, right? And I'll never forget that one. And the other stuff, I started playing. Like I have a picture with me, Melvin Davis, David Ruffin, all in the same band, right? Before
Was David a drummer?
David was a drummer and
Yeah.
Melvin was a drummer.
Yeah.
Both of them, they'd switch off, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's how far we
Wow,
go back.
That's a classic picture.
Right, right. It's in my book, and I'll show it because I still, the picture has some degradation on it, right? But it's still visible. You
Right,
can
right,
still see
right.
it, and you can recognize the people, right? It's a pretty amazing picture.
Now, that was David before he joined Motown?
Yes, yes, exactly. So that's what's so amazing.
Well, did you know he could sing?
Oh, well, yeah, he was singing.
Uh-huh.
He was singing then, right? He was the main singer out front. He'd just switch
okay.
off the drums. Him and Melvin would switch
Okay,
off,
okay.
being front man, right? And I was playing sax because...
Really?
Yeah, and so really what happened was we did a gig up in Muskegon. And so I took the bass with me, and so even though I was playing sax on the gig, right? So I just woodshedded in my room for a couple of weeks, and I came back because black bands in those days, they couldn't really, it was mostly two guitars. The bass hadn't been on the scene, and nobody
Right.
could afford, bass equipment. So I finally worked it out, and then they said the next thing I knew, they knew, and I knew I was playing bass, right?
Wow.
And it just went on from there.
Wow, you fell in love with that bass, didn't
Oh
you?
yeah, no doubt. I felt absolutely all the way head over heels.
Now, at that time, how old were you?
14.
What?
Yes,
14?
yes, right.
And then what? Tell me.
Okay, so I started playing. I used to cut some hair off my head and glue on a mustache in order to be able to play in the clubs, right? So I would play with a lot of blues artists that came over here from Chicago, John Lee Hooker and T-Bone.
Oh,
and
okay.
Jimmy
And
Reed.
John Lee Hooker was originally from Detroit.
Yeah, right, exactly. You remember Bobcat Bob?
Yeah.
I played with him.
I remember the name.
Right,
you know, too
exactly.
young.
So I was playing with John Lee Hooker and Hank Cosby from A&R
Yes,
from
yes.
Motown, because I mean I had heard this was when the buzz was going around and Motown was looking for people, and I definitely wanted to in on that, but I didn't have any connections, right? So they heard me. Hank came to this club somewhere on 12th, and he heard me. And the next morning, Ronnie White from the Miracles was knocking at my door.
Oh, really?
Saying, okay, we want you to replace Jameson because they want Jameson to stay in the
The studio.
Right. And so that's where it all began. I became bassist for Smokey and the Miracles, and after 2 years, I became music director.
And you were young.
Yeah, right, exactly. I did the Motown tour
Yes.
as well.
Did you do the
in
Motown
England.
review here, though, at all?
Oh, yes, at the Fox.
Did you do the first one?
No, not the first one. This was, I think, the second one. It was the second one both in England and here, because I remember asking them, am I too young to go out the country? I didn't know any better.
I know. Well, I was in the front row of that first one, and I was in the second one too.
Right.
And I've been talking about Motown for the past 24 hours, and just the precision of those bands.
Yes.
Was amazing.
Right. And that was one of the reasons why I got the gig at Motown, because I could read music. Because you couldn't get in there unless you read music.
Right.
So I tell people I'm street and classically trained,
Right.
And so my classical background and playing saxophone, all that aided me to be able to get with Motown, because I could read, sight read, and play as well, right?
Wow. So after that, you started, now how long were you with Smokey? Because you said you
Right.
did the Apollo with Smokey.
Right, I did the Apollo with Smokey. I was with Smokey 7, 8 years, and we did all kinds of gigs. And so what would happen is that, like the Vandellas, Supremes,
Right.
when they go to the Apollo, and we were on the show, I'd become their music director, right?
Oh,
and,
okay.
And so and do all that, right? And so
It was so entertaining.
yeah, it was a
But
great experience.
well, you know, for us, the townspeople who were looking on and enjoying, it was so entertaining.
Yeah.
For you all, it was a job, but it was just it had to be fun. The feeling.
It was right. It was more than a job. For us musicians, it was an exploration into unlimited creativity.
Right.
Right. And so that's what made it so phenomenal, because there was so much creative expression going on, and you are a part of it, right? And the difference is that, you know, you play differently for each one of the acts, right?
Right,
That's
right.
part of the art and science of being
Right.
a music artist, musician at the time, because you have to tune in to the energy of each one of these artists
Absolutely.
and play something different, something
Yeah.
that fits exactly for them and makes them sound really
Yeah,
good.
because everybody had their
Right,
lane.
right, exactly.
Everybody
Everyone
had their
has
lane.
their own lane,
And
right.
and so as the 70s went on, what did you do?
Okay, so as the 70s went on, well, there's a middle part in that. When Holland and Dozier went and formed their own label, Invictus Hot
Invictus.
Wax. Yeah, Invictus Hot Wax. I became their main bass player, so I played mainly on everything.
Like what?
Crawl Before You Walk, One Edge,
I know.
100 Proof.
Oh, wow.
General,
Wow. And so McKinley was over there
yeah,
too
right,
a lot
right.
of times.
McKinley was the main person, main arranger, right?
Okay.
And so they gave me the opportunity to form my first group, me as a leader. So I put the Eighth Day together.
Oh, really?
Right. And so we had, as you know, 2 gold records. And so, but their
Golly.
management wasn't that good, right? And so, because I had people from all across the country, so it kind of, after a couple of years, it waned, and I put other groups together. And then I decided that, okay, it's time for me to leave Detroit and try some other avenues. So I moved to Los Angeles. So when I moved to Los Angeles, I started playing lots of sessions. But I'd call Michael Henderson, and I guess he got the information from Ralph Armstrong. He says,
Oh, Ralph.
yeah, right. So he tells me, you know who Tony Williams is? Tony Williams is the great drummer. He was playing with Miles Davis, and Michael was playing with Miles at the time. So I said, I'm looking for something to get into. He said, well, yeah, they tried about 40 cats over there at Tony's. And so I sent them little snippets of me playing, right? And they flew me in, as we say, the rest is history. And
Right.
that's jazz rock fusion, right?
Yes, but they say jazz rock fusion.
Yes.
What is fusion for my audience members who don't know?
Fusion is just like the word, you know, when you use it in chemistry, it's a mixture,
Mixture.
right? You have the intricacy and the improvisation of jazz. You have the intensity and the high energy of rock, and then you have the fusion of those elements. Like my music is funk rock fusion. It's funk based, but it's high energy, and we do both instrumentals and vocals.
Now, you've played with, can you tell my viewers some of the people that you have played bass for?
Okay. Well, I've played on over 100 hit records in my career, from Baby Love, Stop the Name of Love, Where I Love Go, Nowhere to Run. Okay, so that's the Supremes, Martha and the Vandellas, Temptations, Stevie Wonder, of course, the Miracles. I played with the Mamas and Papas, Little Richard.
Now how was that? Now with the Mamas and Papas and Mama Cass, was she
right.
with?
Yes, right. So my story with them, I mean, they're some of the kindest people I've ever met, and the music was great. But this was the first session I ever did where there was a bowl of Coke on the piano that I have seen, right, in this rock situation, right? And so, of course, I didn't partake of any of that because I don't do that. And so, but it was all of the rock artists between the California session scene and the Detroit session scene are two different things, right?
I've heard that.
And so, but when I moved there, I knew they wanted the Detroit sound, so that's why I was able to do 3 sessions a day at triple scale and all this kind of stuff, right?
Okay.
And so.
So did you work at several? You worked at several studios.
Yes. Several studios and several different artists, right? And I recorded Aretha out there, right? Her You album, that was recorded in California. And
Wow.
They did call me to do Carnegie Hall with Aretha as well, right? But they called me at the last minute, like 2 days before, because the bass player's father died and he had to go to a funeral. So they called me in to read and play the music.
Wow. Now, did you play with the Rolling Stones ever?
Well, what happened is we see a picture of me with the Rolling Stones and James Brown, and that was at the, they called it the California Woodstock. That was the Tammy show. It was filmed at the Santa Monica Civic Arena, where this was the Stones' first trip over there. And they liked what I was doing. That's why they let me take a picture with them, right? And so everybody, there was Marvin, the Supremes, the Beach Boys, there's a lot of British acts. And,
Right.
you know, in the movie Get On Up, James talks about, well, you know, I got to close the show. And you know, there's a big argument between who was going to close the show between him and the Stones, right? And so I was there when all of that went down. It's pretty amazing, really, to see, you know, how some of these British acts work, because that was the first time I experienced something like that.
Wow, amazing. Now, we're going to go to a quick break because we want to talk about tonight, and Dennis is here to talk about tonight, too. So if we could go to a quick break, we'll be back in just a quick moment. We are back. Monitor. Anyway, here I am. I got the poster of the big concert tomorrow in a little venue. So you got to get your tickets.
Right.
And I have Dennis Bowles up here, the son of another Motown great, Beans Bowles.
Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you, and speaking to the mic so we can hear you.
I'd like to thank you for having me on also, but it's really all about Tony and
Yes, it
celebrating
is.
Motown's 60th anniversary. That's really the theme of his concert because he was one of the first there. And he's one of my mentors. He used to let me come over and rehearse with the eighth day. I was the first electronic flute player. And he'd let me I'd push my little my amplifier over to his house, and I'd rehearse with him. And I learned what music was about really then, because they rehearsed 6 weeks, 6 months. And I said, man, when are you guys gonna do a gig? He said, we gotta reach that chakra. We gotta reach that point. I didn't know what he was talking about.
Perfection, you gotta be good. You
Right.
gotta be good.
Right.
Because you don't want to be yanked off.
No.
And so tomorrow night, Gwen has been doing this for about a year now.
A year, yes.
On Wednesday evening, Gwen Fox, Foxy Gwen's Day Wednesday. There are 2 shows tomorrow evening, one at 6:30 and one at 9.
Right.
And Tony is live in concert. Oh, man.
It's going to be hosted with Dr. Sabrina Jackson.
Yes,
Fox
Sabrina
2,
is.
911. I want to thank you for, doing it, Dr. Sabrina Jackson, because next week we'll be on her show also. I want to thank you for letting me.
Right, of course. I know Sabrina well. And so this is going to be at the Aretha Jazz Cafe tomorrow. Now, how do we get tickets?
Online, you see the poster, but you'll see purchase tickets. Go online and purchase the tickets at my site, several different sites. It should be all over the place by now.
It is at Ticket Taylor.
Ticket Taylor, yeah.
TicketTaylor.com.
Yeah.
Wow, that's new. Can people go to the music hall and get their tickets?
No, they can't.
They can't?
It's a walk-up thing. Now, they can call me at this number here, and I should have some.
Okay, 313-205-8321. And you said Ticket Taylor?
Yes.
Ticket Taylor, yes.
Wow. Is that Taylor or
T-A-I?
TAI?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to differentiate. That's the teacher in me. I got to know how. But we have other artists who are going to be performing down there too.
It's Love I Am. They'll probably open up with 2 dedications for the theme celebration of Motown, probably the Supremes.
Right.
And Dr. Jackson and Tony. It's Tony's
And I
show.
think Melvin Davis.
Melvin Davis, I'm sorry.
Right,
I'm
and
sorry.
McKinley.
Yeah.
And McKinley.
Right.
Exactly.
They will be with me. Yeah.
Right. McKinley's playing the piano.
Right.
And I'm very excited about that. He's a friend of the show. Now you're a friend of the show. Everybody's a friend of the show.
We love you.
Well, you know,
That's
it
sweet.
is funny because people try and contact people from overseas because they've seen them on my show. So that's good.
Yeah.
That's good because they know I love music. And Tony, you're going back to California?
Yes.
What do you do out there while you're there?
Well, firstly, I'm the music director at the Inglewood Center for Spiritual Living for 15 years at the
Really?
church. Right. So that's my Beethoven gig, as I call it, my church gig, right? And so, but we're still promoting my latest album, which is the White Light Collection. That's what we're focused on at the moment, right? And
Right.
so that's what I'm pumping all the time, and more concerts.
Well, we have to remind people that it's limited seating.
Yes.
Limited seating. It's what I love about the Aretha Jazz Cafe. Did I do it right?
Yes, Aretha Jazz
Jazz
Cafe.
Cafe at the music hall. It is intimate.
It's intimate.
I've performed there myself.
Yeah.
I'm not a singer. I'm a rapper. No, I'm a performance poet.
Hey, you're an
Right,
artist.
I'm a
right.
performance
Performance
poet.
artist.
Yes,
Right,
I'm a
right.
performance poet.
Right.
And I've performed with some of the greats, Marcus Belgrave,
Okay.
and when I get
Yeah.
up, Teddy Harris
Right,
Jr.
right,
and
right.
all this, I do my thing.
Right.
I never could sing, but I got the next best thing. I be acting like a singer.
Well, you can act out the poetry.
That's what I do.
Right.
That's what makes it different. But I did perform at the Shrine Auditorium out there. Yeah, I did.
Right.
You know, you were saying that "Oh Baby Baby," it wasn't long enough or was too short.
It was too short, so what we did, we stood there, so they put it on again so we could finish. We did not, the boys didn't let us go or anything. We
The
stood there.
record's off and you're still holding on,
We
right?
still holding
Coot-
on.
cootin',
The
cootin'.
cootin'.
Yeah, I remember the Gray song, right?
I never got to go there.
No, yeah.
Oh, you missed it.
Yeah, it was
You
a
missed
big
it,
dance.
yeah.
That's what it was. Dancing all day and all night.
That's what I know. I was just a little bit too young. So once again, tomorrow night, Wednesday, August 21st, there's a show at 6:30. Can we get a ticket at the door if we're
Yes.
lucky?
Yes.
6:30, 9 o'clock. You're gonna in for a heck of a show.
A heck of a show. No
I was
doubt
rehearsal
about
with excellent musicians, and you've got to see Tony. I mean, he's handwritten. He knows the music backwards and forward. It's not off the top of his head. It's not just play it as you feel it. It's written, and then they feel it. It's a technique that I learned, and I don't see anymore. It's not in existence.
Right.
So
He's a
come see
legend.
the legends. Come see the real deal. All you bass players in the bass day, come check it out.
Right.
You're going to learn something.
Well, thank you, Tony, and of course, as always, Dennis.
Thank you so much. I'm very honored to be here.
Yeah, I came out of my 1-week retirement to
He brought me
do
out of
this.
retirement.
Yeah,
He said, you need
yeah.
to be my manager. Oh, here we go.
So I will see you Friday morning. I have a great show for you Friday morning. I'm going to have some NBA basketball legends on, and we're going to talk that stuff. So I see you Friday. Thank you, guys.